Vincent Ellis White. I'm born and raised here in Richmond, Virginia. I grew up on the south side, the city part of Richmond, and between that and Chesterfield and the West End area. So I actually grew up in all different areas, but consider myself a south sider. I got my undergrad degree in mass communications from Norfolk State University, and I got my master's degree from Strayer University. Um, I have several different degrees, and none of them go together actually, but they end up working out for me in regards to what I do currently. But I got my master's in education, and I have an executive graduate certificate in business management. That's the educational piece of me. There's many more sides to me, though. I work for the state for the Division of Child Support Enforcement for Richmond, Virginia. Um, I'm a community partner. I work with Henrico Community Partners. I work with the city of Richmond, doing motivational speaking around the city, counties, and I have a book, Finding Chris, My Father, which is based on my life story that I've transformed into a traveling stage play. It is a memoir, so it's real life. It's a truth-telling book, very transparent, um, very speaking very candidly about my life, growing up here in Richmond, growing up without my father. I grew up with to tell you a little bit about the story, I grew up with a father that was incarcerated, and I was under the impression that he was in school for a part of that incarceration. So I grew up with just a mother and grandmother and a lot of family members that were pitching in, but it wasn't a father there. So I started having some of the repercussions that happen when there's no disciplinarian in the home, or no father in the home, just getting in trouble and acting out in school, maybe having some identity crisis things where I don't have a male figure to show me what things to go and do. And at the age of 16, my mother told me that my father, that I always knew as daddy, and my father was not my biological father. His name was Chris Anderson. But she didn't have any further details about him. So, and that was at the age of 16. So I'm a teenager, already dealing with all this stuff, and now I get this bomb dropped on me. And I go through high school, I go through college, trying to basically wearing a mask, trying to look like everything's all right, but I'm really dealing with a lot of internal turmoil. And the book is talking about my trails growing up and the things that I had to experience and deal with. I don't want to give away the entire story, but it's a very heartfelt book, very touching book, and it's just detailing the journey of me finding my father. And I ended up discovering a gift because I didn't know that I could write such a book, and I wrote the book Finding Chris, My Father, based on my life, just for therapeutic purposes. But I ended up, it got into the right hands, and people started asking me to do speaking engagements, and when I would do my speaking engagements, grown men and women and young adults would stand up and they would, cry. They would tell their own testimony. And that's when I realized that it was bigger than me and my book. And it was, I was being used as a vessel by God to be able to assist other people with their different turmoils and things that they were dealing with. And from that point, these two guys named Lamont Ferguson and Marlon Hargrave were at one of my events in Newport News, and they said, we see the reaction that's happening here. We'd like to turn this into a stage play. I didn't believe it at the time because in my mind, I couldn't see a stage play. I never done one before. But like I said, it's not. I realized it wasn't about me anymore. And a year later, we we did casting. We had a stage play. We debuted it on September 5th, 2013 in the Portsmouth area. And then I wanted to bring it home to Richmond, where I'm from and where the book is based, but we didn't have any money. So people just started reaching out. People were donating venues, sponsoring the plays. I partnered with so many people. I partnered with Virginia State, partnered with Henrico Public Schools. I partnered with Richmond Family Fathers Initiative. I partnered with Henrico Heroes, First Things First. All kind of different organizations were just latching on to the program and the story and the play. And now we've had 7 different plays so far that we've performed all around the state of Virginia. In regards to meeting him, well, there's one key piece. I found out later on that my father never knew about me. So in regards to the anger piece, I initially had a transference of anger, if you will. I carried anger for the person that I thought was my father, the one that was incarcerated in and out of jail, that was a habitual offender. I had anger for him because he wasn't there. He was always in and out. I found out about Chris Anderson, my father, and I immediately got angry saying, where was he at? I didn't find out till later on, and didn't really process it after finding out that he was never informed that he had a son. So I couldn't be mad at somebody that didn't know anything about me. So at that point, it was just more eagerness to meet him. When I finally met him, um, man, I tell people I turned into a kid all over again. I was 27, on the outside, but on the inside, I had to be 6 years old. Like when I saw him, I was like, my hands were shaking. I was rocking. I should have known what he looked like. So I was waiting for a man to come introduce himself as my father. I didn't know what he looked like,
Youth
and
Academy.
he came
And then next
out.
thing you
But as
know,
soon
I
as I
met these
saw
two
him, before
guys,
he
Lamar
got to
Ferguson
me,
and
I
Marlon
said, "That's
Hargrave,
my
and they said, I want
father."
to turn your book
And I
into
just
a play.
recognized him just like
And
that
I'm
because he
like, I didn't
looked
think they were
exactly
serious,
like me,
but we
just an
started,
older version.
creating.
Been very close ever since. Regarding my stage play, Finding Chris, my father, he comes to every play. The stage play is traveling now across Virginia, various spots. What I plan to do is just keep the play going to different places. I'd love to expand outside of Virginia. There's still a lot of places in Virginia I haven't hit yet, but I can just see bigger things for it. Fatherlessness is something that is an epidemic across the United States and even beyond. That's my vision, to take it to a place like New York and Florida, DC, Cali. Obviously, this is kind of a thing that we're self-funding, so I would need sponsorships and the financial aspect. But I'm just believing in God that He's gonna make a way like He's done thus far. VW Enterprises is my newly formed LLC, my newly formed company. So I'm going to be having my books and stage plays underneath that. I'm also going to do educational workshops and motivational speaking. The same thing I've been doing for years, but now I've legitimized everything, which is great. And VW is my initials, Vincent Ellis White, but I also play upon the letters and form the acronym Voice, Empowerment, and Wisdom. And I told you before in the interview that I like to uplift youth as well as just people in general. So I like to let people know that youth know that they have a voice, and teach them how to use their voice, how to articulate themselves so that they can be properly heard. Also, in regards to empowerment, I empower the youth to get out there and speak. I even spoke to you earlier about, the youth need to communicate. A lot of times our young adults are bottling things up inside, feelings and whatnot. So if they would be empowered to understand that they do have a voice, they need to be heard, and people will respect them once they know how to do that. Regarding the W for wisdom, if you speak and you sound ignorant, or you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, people are not really going to take you serious or listen to you. So I first want to encompass in our youth having wisdom about whatever subject or topic they're talking about. Once they gain that wisdom, they can be empowered to use their voice. Throughout my rearing and adolescence, um, I had, mentors. I ended up doing some mentoring as well. So I would say find a support system, keep the faith, and stay involved and engaged. I was always doing something, playing sports, visiting family. Like I said, the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, I was there all day long, every day. It's kind of like things, getting engaged will take your mind off of those things, even if it's for the moment. If I'm doing something from 8 in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I'm just going, I don't have time to sit there and soak and be depressed and all that stuff. So those things would take my mind off of what was really going on, and also they also inadvertently would build positive characteristics in you as well. They make you stronger. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a father; it be a support system. In the end, I believe that the father is the ultimate person that you need in your life. But I'm just saying, if you don't have that father, instead of looking at getting depressed, giving up, turning towards gangs or violence, a lot of young females turn to promiscuity. You can just go to them other avenues that are positive. Um, I think those things are what sustained me throughout the entire thing. So I would encourage the young adults to do that.